Welcome to Higher Frequencies.
Where do you go every time you leave? Why do you always gotta go somewhere away from me? I keep wondering if someday you'll just keep holding on. And like a fool, I just keep waiting till the early comes.
If you could find your way back home again, I hope you can find your way into my arms again.
Well, howdy, folks. Welcome to episode 4. Here we go. Where were we? Where we just left off, I think I had just I'd finally gotten the gall to smoke the DMT again, and yeah, it was it was shown it was one of my fears, and it removed this blockage of like, okay, we're ready for the next step, whatever this is. And it was really nice timing actually, because I was just getting my apartment back again. So I was living with my friends, and again, so grateful for the little sanctuary that I had there. And yeah, so I finally got my own place back, and so that was nice. And I think it was just before my birthday, I think. And at that time, I remember, I think it might have been, it was too. It was at the I had done so once I knew I was through like the DMT, through that fear gate or whatever the hell that was. That I was like, okay, I can do mushrooms again. So I think around that time I decided to take, a couple grams of mushrooms. And then at the end it was addressing this like again, started then we started getting all right, what are your real fears now, like in real life? And one of them definitely was like social media and just like expressing myself. I'd always like, hell, I had to, yeah. I was active on social media, viewing and liking and doing all this stuff, kind of pretending I didn't give a shit about it. But I enjoyed going and seeing what everyone was doing. And anytime anyone was posting, it was like, wow, like that's so cool. And like, it's great. But I'd say like, oh, I don't need that. Like, I'm not, I don't want to be online. And it's where this, that line of like, people are spending too much time online. There's judging and stuff like that. But it's like, that was just me, um, judging myself, and also it's like me, the people that I really liked who were vulnerable enough to share this stuff, is that's a version of me too that I have inside of me that I was like, fuck yeah, like I wish I could do that. So I remember at the end I just sat down and I just wrote up, because I think I made a post about being 9 months sober, and like not a video or anything like that, just like a post. And I think that was just on Facebook back when I had Facebook. And I remember now, of course, the mushroom helps when I'm in the stream of consciousness, but I just sat down and just like poured out of me. And whatever it was, whatever I had to say, and I can't remember whatever that was, just me opening up about what I was going through. And the old version of me would have like sat and edited and hummed and hawed and did all this. And it was really like, again, my guides talking to me and just being like, nope, like it doesn't matter. It's not about the content. It's about you kind of like crossing this bridge, getting over, and, learning about, the superpower of vulnerability. Um, that was like the first, first step in changing my story, about social media, and really starting, beginning the journey of playing with it and using it as a tool to somatically, find my voice and get over some of these things that I'm scared to do and say. So that was cool. So that was cool. It was just like, again, as soon as I posted, it was like, like instant like anxiety of like, what did I say? Like and it's so ridiculous once you think about it. We're only trying to impress ourselves. Everyone's in their own head. No one gives a shit about what anybody else is doing. It's literally just like, this thing was inside of me, and but anyways, that just kind of cleared it. After 10 minutes passed, I was like, okay. And then amazing feedback, like wonderful feedback from my friends, being like, wow, again, like what I was seeing and what I was, wanting to do, or wanted to comment on other people's stuff, because it inspired me so much. And so that was great. um One thing I realized I kind of didn't talk about, which was a huge part of me going through this process, was Jessa Reed and her podcast, The Awakening OD, The Awakening Orientation Department. So, again, when you start dealing with different entities and having, little visions, a peek behind the veil of an alternate way of what this thing might be, showing you what this, what our reality, true nature of reality might be. Like, I thought it was just like, well, fuck, I went too far down into this thing, and like I'm, whatever, screwed. But she started to explain to me in a very like, first of all, this she was a comedian at the time, so it's like, and she's this other side of spirituality. She had been like awakened for 20 years, like 20 years, trying to yell at people, trying to like be, you know um but her awakening was through like a near death experience from like a meth overdose. So she was like, again, this is like comedian, just again, like a rock star of spirituality, in my opinion, where it was just fucking realness. And like, if you listen to that podcast, it's like the opposite of anything like you would quote unquote put in the spiritual box of this love and light, and let's like sit and meditate and all this. Because yeah, we'll get into that too, because there's this pseudo spirituality bullshit as well that like is just, you know spiritual bypassing, like, oh, everything's good, everything's nice. And it's like, you know man, it's like, I love this quote. Is like, can't even remember, but what the hell is it? To me, spirituality is like the darkest, grittiest thing I've ever been through. It was for me getting into all of the places that I didn't want to touch, everything that I didn't want to avoid. Sure, there's been moments of like the most loving and like opening my heart and finding true compassion for everyone else, and discovering, starting to get into non duality and all of these things. But to get to that path, for me to break through to any sort of remote thing like that, I had to get through, my own bullshit. And hell, there's still, stuff I'm kind of fine tuning. Of course, it's never ending. Um, it's in a much more enjoyable way, is the main difference. But so her podcast, and the way she describes it is that, this reality is like a video game, and that's how she teaches it. And it's really for she calls like baby aliens, or whatever, for people who like wake up into this thing. It's like you think you got it all figured out and you can go save everyone, and you're like, I found the thing. And it's like, and believe me, I've gone through that thing of like, man, I just gotta like, you just gotta listen to these things and watch this, but take these mushrooms and smoke this DMT, and you'll see what's really going on. And even though I was completely still lost and completely trying to figure out everything out myself, it's just the way it goes. It's like, I think 5 years is like and yeah, I'm at least 5 years into this now, and I'm just getting to, believe me, I thought I had it at 3 years, and but I was still, finding very immature aspects and things that had to be refined and retuned, and things that had to be addressed, as we're gonna find out through this, through the story. I got notes here. You'll see me looking at my screen because I'm all over the place, and I just made some like Cole's notes. So yeah, I get lost, but yeah, okay. So she explains it like a video game. So and if you think of it like this in any kind of RPG or anything like that, you level up. How do you level up? You conquer the levels. And so the way I tune it to is like by me facing my fears, something like, I'm scared to travel alone. Okay, well, I do that. And, in places like, and not like, you know, no resorts, like going to hostels off the beaten track, taking public transit, figuring out that thing, like figuring out just the basics of Spanish and getting around when you're like, by yourself and no one to rely on. And, you can ease into that and do very easy ways. I'd love to help people like with that process of like, here's the roadmap of like, go to the Yucatan in Mexico. It's like, this like go down that path and like, because there's so many people doing the same thing there. And yeah, but it's like, all right, it's like for me that was the biggest game changer. It's like I have literally a whole new world of fucking maps to explore. I unlocked the entire earth. There's nowhere I'm fucking scared of you know there's places I wouldn't want to go or like wish anything on anyone else. But I will go anywhere at any time now that I feel called to. So that's huge. And just like learning new skills, you get a new sword in your bag. You get a new, you get a new badge like by doing these things. It's like by learning a new language, by getting over my fear of speaking on the microphone, by getting my fear of playing with social media and using it and stop looking at it as a something that is a bad thing. One of my like mottos or whatever is there's no good or bad, there's no right or wrong. It's all labels. How we treat things. Everything in life is a paradox. And so, you think again. I think I said in one of my other videos is that like, you know, oh my God, this is like doesn't matter. It's like, but it means everything. Like it's dark and there's no black without white. There's no hot without cold. And so you can put it in a bad box and you can put it in a good box and label it, but that just it limits you in the game. And again, the middle way and ride straddling paradox is again another huge. Thank you, Jessa. Again, I believe she remember her coining that term. Um, is to be able to do that is amazing. So I went from like social media, and believe me, I've used social media as bad. Doom scrolling, it can be very negative for a variety of reasons, and I get it. Like I put a time limit on my Instagram, so it's like I get the notification like ding, you spent a half an hour today. Ding, you spent like, and when it's an hour, it's like that's enough. I don't watch TV or fucking movies or pretty much anything anymore, so it's kind of my entertainment, but still at that point, that's enough. And yeah. But so yeah, social media went from being this like time wasting thing to this tool that I could tap into and express myself and be vulnerable. And the more I use social media to actually to post and to play with, the less I actually consume. But I love, and I had to curate the algorithm too. That's the other thing too. Like they all give you like Facebook, whatever. I deleted it. That thing is just no thanks. Uh, I'm gonna miss some friends in some marketplace on there. I love a good deal. It's one of my, the Gene Keys spells that out for me pretty clearly, and it's true. But anyways. But yeah, you can curate your algorithm. So if like I had to get rid of all the thirst traps, all the, whatever like this, because again, I was just starting to work on lust and deal with, I no porn whatsoever, and because I mean that's just a, yeah, we talk. Whatever, we've all been there with that thing, especially when you're drinking an alcoholic. It's like you're not in any relationships or whatever. What am I doing at the end of the night? What kind of freaky thing is going to get me off now this time? But um, you know, now I can get. No one wants to know this, but now I can. Yeah, myself. I can get myself. I can. I've learned to love myself. Isn't how's that for being weird and vulnerable? But a wonderful book. The Multi-Orgasmic Man, which is like a Taoist book based upon, thousands of years ago, these brilliant men teaching about how to, truly like be, masculine with our sexuality. And I'm still, still working on that one. I've had a couple spills where I went for the, the pretty girl or whatever, and it's not good. It's just, it didn't work out well. And it's like, getting over the looks or anything like that. Like, I know when I have feelings for someone, I know when, and hey, sure, consensual, good time. There's like attraction that way too, right? That's like, that's fun. That's great. But it's, yeah, still figuring out, like I said. So shut up about that one. Um, so it's, so to tweak your algorithm, you can click on not interested, click on. So now if I go to my search thing, it's all, mystical, like psychedelic, you know, not self help, but just cool shit, adventure stuff, comedy. I got rid of the basketball. Like, I don't even do sports anymore. I just don't get that form of entertainment, which is a weird one for me. The one that I have left that I still kind of like, that's a game within the game, because now I'm learning how to play. Like, now that I'm like, okay, well, no, I'm treating my reality as a video game. I'm live in it now. So, I like chess and poker. Those are like my little guilty pleasures that I think again help me too, because you know with poker I work on my reading ability, my intuition, and with chess is like making good chess moves, learning different strategies, learning different things. We'll get into somatic stuff later, but like that allows me to just again develop myself somehow by working on these different patterns in my brain and doing it in a really fun, cool ass way. So yeah, Jessa Reed, if you're ever interested in like a different kind of spirituality that's like again a rock and roll, gritty, like funny type of way, check her out. Cause and like the orientation department is the Awakening OD is like for people newly awakened. She also has like Projector in the Flail with her partner Mark Pontius is just amazing. That just talks about stuff. It's just them just having conversations, honest, authentic conversations about what's going on and how they kind of see it in their view of reality. So it's something that I can relate to. And so yeah, shout out to Jessa. Fucking saved me from a lot of suffering from finding that. I was like, oh my God, thank God. I'm not like, this isn't like, there's other people who like, and I've sensed like where I'm like, holy shit, I'm not even like remotely weird. It's like, I'm just like, I'm the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this stuff. Because again, now my algorithm is all these amazing individuals who are going on, but the deepest, densest stuff. And so now my social media is filled with teachers and wisdom keepers and or people who are just portraying their honest version and just being their true authentic selves. And that's when these people go viral and it works. We're all one piece of this big puzzle, right? So like if we all like just be our authentic selves, which is hard to find though, like hard to, you got to get through the programming and the lack and the limiting beliefs and all this stuff. Once you do the work and get there and express that authentically online, you find out kind of what you're good at doing and what you like doing, what you're passionate about. Like that's what people want to see. That's what resonates with people. And sure, it's like it might be what triggers people too, but if it triggers them, if it triggers you, then it's like it probably means like I want to do that, but I'm not there yet, right? It's like, fuck, I don't want to look at that thing yet. And believe me, I still get triggered myself. So yeah, like back at my place, I'm tapping into nature more. Um, I'm back in. I'm back into the realms. Like I don't think I was really smoking much DMT or anything at that. I was like, that's still like, I'll go to the mushroom when I need to talk, and have some chats. But I was able to do some like wild camping canoe trips with a great friend, and like that was amazing. And again, going on an adventure, right? Like let's just fucking calls me up. Hey, you want to like? I want to go pick up a canoe in Quebec. Want to come with me and like canoe down this fucking river with rapids and like I've never even like other than canoeing on a lake. So like I had no idea how to do rapids or anything. He's like, yeah, we're gonna go down 3 days, and like just went to this fishing lodge and got like paid $20 for these people to drive us an hour, whatever, an hour and a half up the river, and just slowly make our way down, find awesome camping spots, and like, fuck, we flipped the canoe and like it started downpouring rain on us, and like, driving, just eating good food, like, and not drinking, right? Like, not still sober. I wasn't smoking weed or edibles or anything at this point. And, I wasn't using mushrooms this way. They were still like, when I was doing it, it was like, whoa, all right, I'm like preparing myself for whatever it was going to show me. And because it would normally push me along this journey of exploring deeper versions of myself and starting the process of just, all right, we showed you this haha moment, which was fun as fuck, like amazing, incredible, like instant liberation, but I had no idea what to do with it. And then instantly back to the veil. And then for me to go back into my old habits for them, and then to come back to be like, you fucked up, and to get the greatest gift of all, which was to show me and make me feel my deepest darkest fears, and for me to accept them and get over them, and to move into something that I'm still figuring out, but it's fucking cool as shit. So yeah, oh yeah, like, so at the end of that summer, I wrap up having I ended up having a house concert at my mom's, and like, man, like I'm so lucky. It's like, I don't know why, but I know so many amazingly talented musicians and friends. So it's like Campbell and Johnston, like shout out to those guys, and like Nick Goche. I'm not even gonna go on because I'm gonna forget a bunch, like Roland, and just like, and so I'm like, man, I gotta like, and I wanted to do something because I was getting over my lack, and like, and it wasn't like, hey, can you come play? And like, well, I was like, no, it's like, I want to pay you like like a fair amount to come have this friggin' party and like to celebrate together. And I invited both my mom's side, my dad's side, and like they were divorced, and it's like, I invited everyone. I invited like everyone on my Facebook list, which is really funny. He's just like, and but I realized too, this is the whole thing about energy. There was a little bit of me that like wanted to like show off how cool my friends were and like have this awesome wicked party. And there's a lot of people who were supposed to come, and it was just like kind of like a domino effect. It was like six. It was like one person calls like, man, this thing came up, I can't make it. It's like, and usually like a kid thing or like a work thing or something, and it was like a domino effect of like eight different really good friends that I really wanted to like see these amazing, just to have a time. And but I can tell now it's like, because I create my own reality, right? From my internal creates my external reality. As within, so without, as above, so below. We haven't got into the Kybalion yet. I'll do probably a separate episode on that. Lots of books to dive into. One today too. So yeah, not a lot of people showed up. But then it started raining, and so it was this intimate affair, and everyone who like needed for to be there for me in that moment was there. And we ended up, because that many people couldn't make it or show up, were able to move inside and have this intimate, amazing, just house concert. And yeah, just like, and like dear friends of mine, like, to have like Dave and Nick there, and like, um that really, it meant the world to me. It's like, the OG pals that like, and we'll get into that story, some stories about that stuff too. But so it was wonderful. And yeah, it was great. And so that was great. So it was me just like, and there was no version of me like a year ago that would ever like spend a large chunk of money to just have a party for people. Like, it wasn't in me. I had this lack. and this need to be like feel safe, like I have this money, I'm going through this thing, I'm not really working much, and if I am, I'm trying to do it for a little as much as possible because it's mostly friends and family. And but yeah, it was wonderful. And yeah, and it was right around that time, I guess I'd made it to 1 year alcohol free, and that was fucking great. And it was funny. Like, it was a divine intervention, is what I like to call it. Like, they're like, you had, like, you're doing this, or like, it was a gift for sure to like get pressured into that in the realms. But before that, with like the DMT, when I was playing around with it, I was getting these hints, and they'd say a couple times, like, I'd hear this thing like, go 1 year without alcohol, and you will fucking live the life of your dreams if you can truly like let go of it and learn how to let go of it and learn how to like live without of it. But for me, it was just another day. I didn't think about it for a moment and just like continued on. And so, I mean, that was wonderful. And then I guess I'll talk a little bit about this book. So I think, before then I'd finished this big monster, Awaken to Your True Self by Andrew Daniel. And it was like, I can't even remember how I found this. I think, again, um, through social media. It was one of those things that came, the algorithm. Like, hello, like the amount of things that I've found that have helped me so much through Instagram has been wonderful, and it just resonated instantly with me. And I was like, okay, I guess this is the next one. And it's fucking 300, 400 pages of just his summary of like a 20-year or 10-year journey, I can't remember, of trying to like fix himself and summarizing everything to it. But I mean, getting into, in again, check it out if you're interested, see if it resonates. But some of the main things was like stories, like all these stories that we tell ourselves, that like, I didn't get the job because of this, or this happened because of that. He didn't like me, well, this because this happened, and you're just making up these bullshit stories, right? Um, that just, it's not true or reality, but you're making up a story to like tell yourself to make it okay, to make it justifiable, when you could be like, I finally talked to John and confessed my love and something, but he wasn't ready for this or that. It's like, yeah, I talked to John, he said no, he wasn't interested, and that's okay, and move on. um, it's not a good way to explain it, but like, how you do one thing is how you do everything, which you got to read the book for the concept. But I realized, like, for me, it was rushing. When I was doing the dishes, when I was making my bed, when I was doing the laundry, when I was doing work, I was rushing. I just wanted to get through the chores, and through like even just through everything, until I wanted to get to what I want to do, which is sit down and have a drink. Um, or whatever, like, get online, like watch a movie, to plug into the next distraction, right? So it's just rush, 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 rush. Never really enjoying myself. And like the biggest thing, right, for me was just to like, and that was just reiterated again and again with the Gene Keys. It's just like, slow down. Again, everything in life is a paradox. The slower you go, the quicker you get there. If instead you stop rushing through life and trying to do all these things in a wild little fashion, if you just if you just take your time, and again, Taoism, it's like, allow the things, the art of Wu Wei, the art of non-doing, is allow the things to come to you, allow the answers to come to you. And yes, sure, make moves when you have to. And like this last week, that was a move for me. Did a lot of things, tied up a lot of loose ends. It was wicked. But there's a lot of weeks where I just need to read and to contemplate and go for walks in nature and allow for the thing to come. Because a lot of the times when I'm trying to force the thing to happen, or I want this thing to happen, well, if I just try to move this thing, or talk to this guy, or force this guy to do the thing that I want, use this person to do the thing that you want, you're just fucking up your algorithm in the universe, right? If you want something, attract it, be that frequency, like, do the hard things that you need to get there. um it's a tricky little one, but like that, like forcing things was one of my biggest just pitfall. And the way I had to do it was pretty much through the gene keys to slow down. Was this? They have this app. What the hell is the? Anyways, look. God, I can't remember the app. I don't have it anymore because I'm trying to do it now. I don't want. I'm trying to embody it. But the app was every 3 hours, you would get a ding, and you have to stop for 3 minutes and take a pause. And that is a hard thing to do at first. And at first, I'd be like, oh, next one. I'll do the next one. I'll do the next one. Just move the thing. I'm in the middle. I'll do the next one. Like when you're in the middle of something and just to stop, like I had to, and eventually to make myself do that. And then to like, instead of you get stuck in traffic, treat it as a pause. Maybe if you got, the traffic didn't happen, you would have been ahead, got in an accident, worst thing. Trust that reality is happening for you and not to you. Get out of that victim thing. That's where, victim conscious again in this book, you know, and in the gene keys, it's like, oh, it's me. And it's like everything. And I've had this, like, everything would be perfect if this didn't happen. If only this didn't happen, everything would be great. And it's like, well, no, it's like, too bad. This is where you're at. You know, sorry, but it's, you do create your own reality. And I won't get into, there's things in there, yeah, I can't really explain. But I know now that things that I thought were the worst things that happened to me were the best. And I'm gonna apologize if I repeat myself on some of this stuff because like I'm trying to, now that I'm caught up, it should be pretty easy. And but I feel like I went into that one before. But this is why I'm gonna have like little just point notes to try to keep my ass in line and not make this redundant as much as I can. But yeah, in the book, going into back to the book is so I jump all over the place, was to stop, to stop the story, stop the overthinking, stop the addiction, stop the drama, stop the avoiding, lying to yourself, trying to fix yourself, blaming, complaining, all of this stuff. Just fucking stop all the bullshit. Be true, like be honest with yourself and face whatever you're dealing with and do the hard things. Do the things that you don't want to do. And you know and to feel the things, to take responsibility, live with truth. And yeah, and it's not, you're never a victim because you gotta choose. You don't like where you're at, make a new choice. Sorry. It's the way she goes. And yeah, I know it's fucking hard sometimes, and I won't get in. There's weird things where you're like, really, how do you I know, not getting there, and I'm not going into that. But and then the big thing was somatics, uh, which, so he's a director of cinesomatics, and it's this wild, this wild form of therapy where, and should I get into that now? The hell am I at? See, this is why I need notes because I'm like, I mean, I might as well because I'm talking about the book. Uh, so it's this wild form of therapy. So after I finish this book, after I do a bunch of stuff after, this is where it's like, and again, somatically, and at the time he was doing a deal, it was like $400 for like a 2 hour session. And, I ended up, because I could tell that I was like supposed to do this and to invest in myself in the therapy. And I, buy the courses, the gene keys and all this stuff, buying all the books, but like to go and take like $500 for one session, that's insane for me. And like, think of all, like, that's me living in Mexico for fucking however long and all this stuff. And, trying to justify not investing in yourself. It's crazy. But to make that somatically, to make that investment in myself was just an absolute life changer. And so he gets you to set up, your webcam or whatever, and to get up and act. And he'll ask you, like, after you go through certain things, and he explains everything and yada yada. But it's like, tell me what, tell me what receiving looks like to you, and he get you to act it out. Tell me what giving looks like to you. and he'd act it out, and then you go over, and he could essentially see through the movements in your body where these stuck stories are somatically. And I mean, it's mind blowing. It's like he's reading my mind. He found out stuff about me. He's like, it's like you're stuck in the basement. Or I remember with some one thing I was like fucking freaking out. He's like, man, it's like you're stuck in like the cage, like you're stuck in a basement or something. And I was back in my basement apartment for like 6 months at that point. It was like, and I was dying to get out and to go explore again. And that's what I like learned. But, and again, really hard to explain. But, right, the way I knew I had to invest in it is because he has an exercise at the end of this book to do it, to go and set up your camera and to read out the exercise and do it yourself. And as I set up the camera, all of a sudden, this like, I was in this like, it was like I was in the mushroom state again. This like wave of like this, what I call was like the glimmer. And anytime I get notes of stuff like this, I'm like, there's something here. It's the universe like shining down on me to be like, this is like a breakthrough type of therapy. Like, spend the fucking money, do it. I still put it off for like, I don't know, 4 or 6 months, but eventually I did. That was the other thing too. I don't think I talked about it in the last one or not, but yeah, I had started reading this book and it was like I just wasn't ready for it. It was like wasn't quite clicking or whatever, and I put it down. I set it aside. And I had a dream. I had a dream and it was a visceral like lucid type of dream. And this amazing dude in the dream was wearing a t-shirt with a cover of this book. And like that's when I was like woke up. I was like, I guess it's time to read the book again. And as soon as I did, I couldn't put it down. It started like clicking, boom, 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 like everything. It was like, whoa, like making notes, scratching, like trying the things, like trying to live the things, try to embody the things, feeling these things inside my body, right? Trying to, really get into it. And it was wonderful. So it was like, God love you, Andrew. And like this guy's awesome too. He actually even started like this is literally like gonna be, I truly believe when it gets more popular and stuff like that, it's like one of those. There's no shortcuts. You still have to do all the work, but it's like I could do fucking 10 years of talk therapy, I believe, and like I've done talk therapy. Sorry, but like I don't know. I think journaling is kind of like similar way for me. Depends on, and again, I had one therapist, I think. So sure, there will be breakthrough therapists and stuff like that. And don't, I'm not knocking that. Do that if you're doing that. It's fucking awesome. Any kind of therapy, any kind of work that you're putting in yourself, whatever works for you, do that. Not knocking it. It's just a different kind where like this guy can see into what you're doing, and he like really like tapped into something and gave me this information that was invaluable and allowed me to move forward in a completely different kind of way. So he has this school called Awaken too. So and it's free, and he comes on I think every week for like to allow to, again it's like now I think he's like $750 for one of these 2 hour sessions. He went like 3.5 hours with me, but yeah, it's like, and he does this free, and now there's a community and all of these people, and he's doing this because he understands. He talks about like again teaching me how it's a holographic, we live in a holographic reality. Science is catching up to that. um and yeah, so it's a brilliant book with an amazing free community on the side for people to connect with and to do exercises. So I one of them that I saw, because I'm still on there, and like I popped in for one time. It all I will probably won't get to it in this episode, but like I booked a session with him just to be like, "You're never gonna believe it, Andrew." I like that's for a different one, anyways. That's how much I had like broken through, you know, awakening you why you're stuck and how to break through. And man, anyways, it's amazing stuff and really synthesizes a lot of the some of the ancient wisdom teachings as well. So can't recommend it enough. Um, yeah, I'm gonna take a pause for a second because I need more water. Hold on. We're back, and I'm realizing now. maybe that's enough for one episode. I'm kind of all over the place. And because I'm just getting into the gene keys. So, yeah, adios.